Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
Excuse me, sir. Why did you go to yourself first?
I forgot that my buttons are switched from where they physically are. So my right button is me, but the left button's Dalton. But physically, I'm on the right and he's on the left. Shut up.
What's up, Buzz Squad? It's your boy Dalton, back at it again with the dyslexic. But now I can't speak. Thank you, Jake.
I think we should just stop now and restart another day. We're off to a bad start.
Yeah, man, we might have to stop. You know, chat's already tried to say that the worst buddy that Gal's ever had was the best one. So many things there. So, what are we doing today?
So Dalton and I thought it would be fun if we went over and we talked about the buddy monsters from the first season of Buddyfight. We started with season 1 because 1 chronological, but also because season 1 had probably the biggest focus on the buddy monsters themselves, and there are a lot of them. There are more introduced in this season than any other season, and there's some really cool ones. Everyone's got a favorite season 1 buddy monster, and we thought it would be fun to review them, not just on how much we like them, but on their cards, their original card, and how they fared competitively in Buddyfight. I thought that would
during that time.
Yeah, so we're gonna focus on how well, how good of a card they were at release. It would not be fair to look at some of them as now, but we might, point out that hey, this card still actually sees play now, which most of them don't, but a few do.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true.
So before we actually go into the list, I gotta ask Dalton, who's your favorite season 1 buddy monster?
Grendel.
Oh, mine's you're never gonna guess who mine is.
Three Gorgon sisters Medusa?
No, it's Demon Lord Asmodai. He's pretty obscure. He's not focused in the show very much.
I forgot about that one.
Chat, can you guys let us know in the comments what your favorite buddy monster is from the first season?
From the first season, yes.
The other thing I wanted to address is with our list, we tried to get a condensed list of the important cards to talk about. Primarily, we ignored ones that are just like one-offs or alternate forms. So, for example, we have Armor Knight Cerberus on our list, but not Armor Knight Cerberus Ace.
Spoilers. I didn't know that.
Oh. Also, we skipped a lot of the one-off minor ones, like, yo, you don't need the buddy of the dude who was in the first episode who played chess. Yep. Yeah, it was like Bishop or whatever.
It would have been lit.
Granted, we might still skip something that you thought might be on the list. We tried our best to make a cohesive list.
There's over 25, so yeah.
Yeah, I think we have 26 to go through.
Yeah.
So Dalton has the names and everything pulled up, and I have the cards pulled up. So
Somewhat.
We do happen to have them in different orders, so
yes.
That's how good we are at preparing.
It's because you didn't just agree with me.
Right. So before we actually get into it, though, I'd like to give the reminder. First, we are talking about something nostalgic for Buddyfight, and if you want to talk about or enjoy some more Buddyfight nostalgia, you should definitely check out some of the unboxings we've been doing recently. Mm-hmm. There's a new one coming out soon, our next one. I don't know if we're doing it tomorrow or Monday maybe, but that one's really, really fun. Don't miss that one. Also, if you'd like to support us while you're having fun, you think, hey, this is a really fun topic, I want to see them do season 2, or maybe want to see them do 3 or 4, or maybe something else, like maybe you want us to review all the forms of drum, for example. We're all ears for suggestions like that, especially if you leave them as a super chat.
Yeah, super chat. Way to work it in, even though it was a horrible work in. But
I'm sorry.
It's still working nonetheless. But yes, if you want to support us, you could super chat or join our Patreon or check out our shop. links, and then obviously Super Chat.
I'm getting yelled at for not adding people again.
Okay, so let's start this off. What world, I guess, we have to go by? Is it Dragon World?
I would say so.
All right, so numero uno, we have Drum Bunker Dragon. What'd he do?
Who?
I have a pen and I'm not afraid to use it.
All right, so those of you who maybe started playing later on will probably think that Drum is really basic, because he is.
That was the point.
Yeah. Drum actually is a really good starter card to get people to understand the game. So he is a 5/3/5 for stats. He has a 1 gauge call cost, and the top card of the deck goes into his soul, and he has Soul Guard. That's it. And
Hey, that's all you needed.
yeah, actually, for the beginning of the game, we're talking not just the first season. We're talking like the very early parts of the first season. He was really good because he actually was. When you looked at like normal vanilla stats, his stats were much higher than they should be. 5/3/5 with Soul Guard was very good at first, but once we moved past the era of people playing vanilla cards, he got aged pretty quickly.
Yeah, don't worry. He got upgrades, but, they never became the buddy,
No. So, like, would you say he was a good card though? If you like pulled him, would you play him back then?
I did.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I mean, even like you had other Dragon World decks that still just played him because he was a good solid size too. I saw him occasionally see playing Dragon Knights and Jackknife decks, which really didn't have any cards yet. Definitely ran him.
Sure.
That being said, gotta be honest, he's a pretty terrible card.
He's the OG. That's all that matters. He's OG. That's all that matters.
Yeah, like he's not remotely good anymore.
No, he's not supposed to be. That's why he's had so many evolutions, you could say, or learning of words.
Though I really appreciate how easy to understand he was as a boss monster. Though I do wish they had put him in the first trial deck instead of Raising Flare Dragon, which made no sense because Cerberus was in the other one. So why didn't you put Drum in it other than to put him in the set?
Well, that's
force them to buy booster packs. But if you did that, why make him a rare?
Because he was also a buddy rare.
No. He wasn't until the Golden Buddy Pack. He was an SP though. Jackknife was the buddy rare.
Yeah, horrible buddy rare. What's next? El Quixote, if I am correct. Noboru's buddy back in the day when he was all Dragon World, right?
Mm-hmm. So he's a size 1 monster with a solid 2/2/2 for stats.
2/2/2, really?
Yep. And when this card deals damage to your opponent, put the top card of your deck into your gauge.
Early Vlad decks use this, mainly because there wasn't mill yet. The only reason. So you had to gauge ramp in order to get the deck off, but still pretty neat, Kind of a little upsetting that they waited so long to give us Grandpa and Doggo SD version of him. But, still decent card.
Awesome. My favorite is Drunk El Quixote.
Drunken Master?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That is a good one.
He was actually pretty good in the first season. Particularly, there were pretty much no monster cards when he came out that actually gained advantage. Dragon Knights did get a couple others, but, no other decks got that.
Yeah, another really expensive card. Well, SP of a card.
Yeah. He was really good when he came out. I know that sounds weird that a monster that only does one thing and it's on hit, gain 1 gauge was good, but he really was. That being said, it was kind of annoying that he didn't also gain it when he destroyed a monster. Even then, I was like, that's kind of a problem.
That was back in the day when they were trying to keep decks more specific and so forth. Because you had Spectral Strike, the best black dragons. I'm going to hurt so many people with that statement.
But
and things like that. So they wanted to keep everything kind of uniformed in a sense.
I like his stat line, though. 2/2/2 is kind of fun. But yeah, he in the modern day, he's arguably more unplayable than Drum. Also, oh no, that's really he's another example though of a really simple buddy monster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Who's next?
No, I think that wraps it up for Dragon World.
All
I'm looking at my list. Yeah, I think that's it.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh, Dalton's going to make people mad.
With what? What's that? I don't know.
So,
What is this card?
so there's this card.
Jach? Knife? Druid gun?
All right. Jokes aside.
What jokes? This is real.
Jackknife Dragon is the next Dragon World Buddy monster. Very iconic card. Who's, still getting new versions to this day, and is still in the anime occasionally to this day. The original was available in the third trial deck for the game, which was weird. They did a second Dragon World one back to back. And he was the Buddy Rare in the first booster set.
Yep.
So Jackknife is a size 2 with 5,000 power, 3 critical, and 6,000 defense. He has a call cost of 1 gauge and an act ability, the first we've seen on a Buddy monster so far.
Oh, this is, I guess, cool. Even though it's on a... Yeah.
You may pay 2 gauge. If you do, search your deck for a monster with Jackknife in its card name and call it on top of this card and shuffle your deck.
If Jackknife never became a degenerate card, he'd be all right in my books. But he did. So, yeah. The only good thing that came out of Jackknife was Gold Ritter and maybe Burn Energy. But
I like Jackknife Drum and Drum Jackknife. That was kind of funny.
I will stab you. Just kidding, YouTube. I'm not going to do that.
I think for the time, Jackknife was very forward-thinking of a card. The ability to toolbox out an evolution from the deck is honestly something that would still be welcome for a lot of decks.
It's almost like the prelude to Max Dragons.
Yeah, basically. Besides the fact that you need a specific set spell and you need to do it at specific times,
Well, you had to search out a specific sense card with that said name.
Yeah,
And call it on top of it.
that is kind of fair. The big problem with him at the time was the cost, because he's got a 1 gauge call cost and cost 2 gauge to evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 3 gauge cost. Now the benefit there is because of his wording on how it works, you don't have to pay the call cost for the evolutions. The big problem here being all of the original choices for evolutions for him were awful.
At his time of release.
Yeah.
Remember that, because we can argue other cards later down the road.
There were later ones that were good, even some really good ones, but most of the starter ones were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
I remember because the Jackknife trial deck was the first thing I ever played in Buddy Fight.
Oof, I'm sorry.
They really sucked, but he himself was pretty good. And he saw, as Jackknife continued to get support over the years, he was still an important part of the deck because his search was from the deck. And hold up. What? Windows just tried to do an update on our streaming computer.
Oh, gosh. That would have been bad. We'd have just been like, oh, nope, we're done.
I just saw a message pop up and I panicked.
But yeah, that's all I have to say about
Windows
this
is trying to stop us talking about Jackknife.
See? Even Windows knows. This is a sign.
Well, yeah, very forward-thinking in its effect, but not the most effective thing, primarily due to the cost. Though his stats were really good, honestly.
No, I've been done talking about this card for
Next.
a while. I believe that, I guess, now wraps up Dragon World.
Yes, believe it or not, there were not very many buddy monsters from Dragon World. It was kind of weird. But the ones we got were, iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Really iconic, honestly.
Yes. And what? Off to Danger World, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Jacob, I know what card that is. You don't have to keep showing it to me.
I'm just...
We got Ryuga's number 1 buddy. Armor Knight Cerberus. Non-ace version.
Yeah, that's a big thing here is Armor Knight Cerberus and Armor Knight Cerberus Ace are very, very different, but we're only talking about the base form today. He's a weird card. Just in general. He was in the Savage Steel trial deck.
Yep.
Which is why it was really weird that Drum was omitted, but whatever. He's a 5/2/5 size 2, and his abilities are even.
Did he have a call cost or no?
Bizarre. No.
No? Okay.
He's free. And his first ability is an Act. Act. You may put a size 1 or less Armor Knight from your field into this monster's soul.
Yeah.
So he gets to eat them. Then he has another Act ability. It's even rare now for cards to have multiple Act abilities.
This is true.
This one's named. It's called Full Fire.
Boom!
You may discard 1 soul card from this monster. If you do, destroy a monster on your opponent's field.
So in other words, he was a certain card that we'll get into later before that card existed.
Yeah, and besides the fact that the wording on that's really weird for like our modern, how Buddy Fight's worded. It would just say drop a soul card instead. Instead of you may discard 1 soul from this monster. That's way too wordy. And then he also has Soul Guard.
Well, of course, I hope so.
Yeah. So he's really weird because Danger World's playstyle had nothing to do with this.
Well,
he always felt kind of out of place.
I don't think so. I think it did initially, and then they kind of changed to Ace, and then Ace completely changed how they played in general. I think their main thing was kind of setting up with him, even though Armor Knights weren't necessarily the most shown off deck for Danger World right away.
I don't know. I think I'd rather just play Armor Knight Golem. That 8K wall.
I don't know, man. Those dual dragons and that dual law and all them good stuff right there. Anything else on Cerberus?
No, he's really weird in his effect or Danger World, but also I never felt he was very good.
He was there.
He was there.
He was definitely there. Now off to the other Danger World buddy that we kind of debated about if we were gonna keep it or omit it or this or that, because season 1 had a lot of one-offs, but it's weird with this one.
This character was kind of important in the beginning of the series, and then he just disappeared forever. I forget the guy's name, but
that's what I never found. Yeah,
we're talking about fighting dragon Demon Lord, whose buddy was like the second in command to the dude who plays Dual Seeger. What's his name? Genma. Kinda. That's what I remember. I haven't watched season 1 in a long time. Fighting Dragon Demon Lord. And he is a dual dragon with 5/2/3 for his stats. And he has a call cost of putting a monster from your field into the drop zone and paying 2 gauge. Then put the top 2 cards of your deck into this monster's soul. Then he has Soul Guard and a new ability that hasn't been mentioned yet, Counterattack.
What happened to me naming off the monsters, sir?
Oh, yeah. That's what he's upset about. He's been giving me a weird look this whole time. I'm like, what?
It was very weird. He actually, from our locals, I don't remember him seeing that much play. His second form definitely did ramp it up, obviously.
Yeah, Counterattack was really OP in the season.
The Counterattack was basically the only thing.
But still, I don't remember seeing really at all.
Because if you really think about it, it's pretty overcosted.
Yeah, but Demon Lord Arc, his retrain he got later in the season, was really strong. So
the original redirector, the best redirector.
I guess he gets a most improved trophy.
By the end of the season, these rewards go out to most improved buddy monster. There isn't really much else to say about Demon Lord, is there?
No, he's
just introduces counterattack. And that's basically it, which is cool and all.
I have his SP. It's okay looking.
Yeah, it's okay. Isn't it the same art?
Yeah, it is.
And that wraps up Danger World. What world's next?
Magic World.
So Mary Sue.
Oh, you're just gonna do me like that and skip over
Yes, I am going to do you like that.
All right, fine. I guess we'll go with yours first.
Mary Sue, center of this world. You got to realize that. Come on now.
All right, 10 out of 10 art.
10 out of 10 art, 10 out of 10 SP.
Check out my Cyber Ninja Squad unboxing. Spoilers, I pulled an SP of her. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And oh my god, is it beautiful.
She is beautiful. Cost of 2 gauge, and what was that? On enter search for any spell?
Yeah, any spell.
Just.
She's a 4/2/3, but that
Who
doesn't
cares?
matter.
Who
She's
cares
in
about
Magic
that?
World. Stats don't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's all about that effect. But let's be real. In season 1, she didn't really see too much play. She saw play. Don't get it wrong, but she didn't see a lot.
The problem was the 2 gauge call cost and the fact that there were very few good targets to search for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people definitely wanted to do the anime thing and search out Grandfather Clock with her, but that wasn't very effective.
Just because wizards weren't that great, but that's because Bushi did Bushi things to them. But she did age beautifully.
Honestly, probably the best aging card on this entire list. Searching out any spell card, I think that's the key thing. If they had limited it to like a wizard spell card or even just a Magic World spell card, she'd be a little less good.
Even though we don't have to worry about that yet, but it could become a problem if somehow works out other ways.
But she still sees play to this day as basically a spell to search out a spell. No one plays her because she's a monster. They just slap her on the field and then grab their spell, and then she gets retired.
Well, then if you want to get later into more seasons, then they introduce her SD form, which allowed you to bounce her back, so then you just spam her, which is also nice. You can never say anything bad about Mary Sue, you know? She's the center of the world for a reason. Yeah. I think that basically wraps her up.
One of the best cards so far.
Oh, yeah.
Who's next?
Now let's see here. Let me check my list real quick here. Ice Blade. I'm joking. Demon Lord Asmodai. I just had to do that.
All right, so obviously Demon Lord Asmodai is my favorite monster in the entire game, but I'm going to set that aside and talk about it analytically and objectively for a moment. So he was, fun fact for you, when Dragon Chief came out, he was the most expensive card in the set by quite a bit. I think it was like $30 a copy at that time, and he stayed expensive. I think he's the most expensive triple rare in the set. I think he's at like $7 or $8 for the original copy. I don't need to worry about that because I got them, World Championship.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, because you need to get 2 more. You only got 2.
I still need an SP, and I still need a Buddy Rare.
Yeah.
As well.
Many things.
But looking at the card itself, he's a size 1 with 5,000 power, 1 crit, and 1,000 defense. The lack of a second crit is kind of annoying, but it's Magic World. You take what you can get.
This is fair. What's his skill?
His skill is Dangerous Backdrop. When this card enters the field, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, destroy a monster on the field.
Why wasn't he in Katana World?
That's a weird question.
Because, you discard. There's not much discard support in Magic World. There's way more in Katana World.
That's fair. There is some discard support, but that's not why you'd play him back then. It was just because...
Well, I understand that, but it would have been, I guess, cooler in that sense, but it also wouldn't work out world-wise for him, since, he is a 72 pillar.
So, yeah, Asmodai in Season 1 was one of the best cards in the game. Just being able to enter the field and pop a monster on the field, even with the heavy cost of discarding a card, was very, very effective then. Especially since most monsters had no protection of any sort, and
besides
most
Soul Guard?
monsters had no Soul Guard. Some monsters did. I mean, Drum, oof. But then you just magic goodbye him back to your hand and do it again.
Fair point.
So he was very, very good. And he was still good in the second season of Buddy Fight and the third, but by mid to late Triple D, he was pretty much useless. But some weirdos like Jacob still teched him in just because he loves them so much.
No, sounds about right.
But yeah, ultimately he has very little to do with 72 Pillars' actual play styles, which is the primary problem with him. And, 72 Pillars don't do much, like you mentioned, don't have much to do with discard effects.
Mm-hmm.
And these days, he's not really a good target for spamming over and over again because they're all about card advantage.
This is very
But
true.
he was incredibly good.
Mm-hmm. All right. Was there only 2 for Magic World? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people I'm sure would argue Kinos Axia because he's Drum's buddy.
Yes, buddy. But we can't.
No, he's not actually a buddy monster.
Because Drum never played a game of Buddy Fight.
I would love to see him come back at some point in the anime, though, because he, went off to find his own buddy. So maybe.
Did he go off to find his own buddy after that?
Yeah, I thought so.
Let us know in chat. I can't remember. I cannot remember. So what world's next? Is it not Legend World, but Katana World? There we go. The first world I played with. That's right. Which of these 3 buddies do we want to start off with first? So we go with Zanya's
Yes.
Nano Machine Ninja Tsukikage. Honestly, probably the best of its time for season 1 with its skill, in my opinion. But obviously, didn't age the greatest on how they kind of went about with ninjas in general, but still, fantastic cards.
So yeah,
starting off.
He is a 5/2/1, which are perfect, absolute best size 1 stats. At the time, people were playing a ton of 1,000 Rapier Dragon was super meta at the time, so he gets the same stat line. And he has an ability, Nanomachine Body Replacement. If this card would be destroyed, you may discard a non-monster card from your hand. If you do, this card remains on the field. For the time, that was really good, but I'd argue the skill was secondary. It was the stats that were the most important part, because believe it or not, his stats were actually higher than a Vanilla's in Katana World. Katana World's stat line should have been 4/2/1.
In my opinion, his stats are secondary to his ability, because it was your first size 1 wall before walling was really a big thing, Yes, penetrate, got through, and all that stuff, but you just sit there and just hold off on your opponent with the size 1 that they're just getting annoyed with. It's quite nice.
Yeah, and discarding your Ninja Art cards was not the worst cost ever, even though it was pretty high of a cost. It was manageable, at least a couple times. So he is pretty darn good, which is why Dalton spent so much money chasing for him.
I don't know what you're talking about. We didn't do anything of the sort. You said we were going to talk about that.
He bought so many boxes.
That was a long chase card. Oof.
And
I like the fact that when I went on that whole thing, it was when the golden pack came out. Perfect pack, my bad. When I think I got the buddy rare first, and then I gotta go back to Cyber Ninja Squad to get the triple rares. Pulled an SP, then a triple rare, then pulled another SP.
it was glorious.
Glorious, but it's okay.
And he was expensive. His triple rare copy was $25, which was matched by the other big flagship card of Cyber Ninja Squad. Both of them were really chase.
Mm-hmm.
That card being the next one we're talking about.
He wasn't a chase card. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
You're lying.
Yamagarasu was
No. He
Oh,
wasn't
oh,
in that set.
Oh,
Man.
oh. That's why I was so confused. Oh, you want me to talk about Jin's buddy, Yamagitsune. What's his full name again?
Evil in Heart Yami Gitsune.
Evil in Heart. It's a shame they never knew what to do with this guy. And I'm just talking about his long history of always changing up every single retrain he got. But based off the first one, It was a neat ability. If you want to read it off for the people.
Certainly. He's a size 1 with 5/2/1, great stats, with a 1 gauge call cost, and 1 ability called To Darkness. When your Skull Warrior deals...
Is it To Darkness or Into Darkness?
No, just To Darkness.
Okay, just want to make sure.
When your Skull Warrior deals damage to your opponent, you may put that card into your drop zone. If you do, draw a card.
Yeah,
So if...
nice.
For those of you who have never seen Skull Warriors in action because you started playing in Ace or whatever, Skull Warriors, all their monsters died at the end of the turn in exchange for better abilities. So the idea being the thing was going to die anyway, so it was essentially a free draw if they dealt damage to the opponent. The other thing here is this is not a once per turn ability. So if you had him and 2 other Skull Warriors on the field and both of them attacked, you could do that. And I believe you could also trigger it for himself.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
It just stated Skull Warriors. It didn't say others.
Though it was kind of weird that he was the only Skull Warrior monster that didn't kill himself, at the end of the turn. Like, thematically. All the others did, but he didn't, so he didn't really match up.
Well, in a way he did because of his skill. So it kind of makes up for it, in my opinion.
I think he was really ahead of his time. He was very good at the time. The problem was the other Skull Warriors weren't very good, and by the time we could have gotten better Skull Warriors, he was super outdated. But I mean, a lot of the original mentality of that deck has been translated into other decks later on. Dark Heroes were very much based off of that same concept as Yami-Kitsune of you're going to lose your things, but you're going to plus because you do.
This is true.
And then more modern, you have dual golems who also die after doing something. In this case, it's attacking instead of at the end of turn. But at this point now, you've got cards that also plus when that happens.
This is very true, which is nice,
Also,
off to the next one, or?
Yeah, also he was very iconic at our locals for reasons I'm not going to share. But if you were there, you know what I'm talking about.
I was there. Now Yamiguratsu, our Sky Ninja himself. What he do?
Yamiguratsu, he's a ninja, which was kind of weird, right? Because usually you'd only get 1 per archetype, 1 buddy monster featured, but this is one of the rare occasions when you get 2. And he's a 4/1/1 size 1, and he has an ability, Tengu's Airshot. When your opponent's monster in front of this card becomes rest, deal 1 damage to your opponent. And he also has move.
Which is nice. All right, Busha, I got to be real with you. I want to retrain. I want some more resting cards. And I want a fleshed out archetype. Because, come on. It was so close. But I think there was 2, 3 cards if you want to count Snake Gaze. And obviously, Poison Mist Formation. But that's besides the point. Just a big swing and a miss. But I think that was just because it was kind of like a mini arc in the...
Yeah, he was really not very good even when he came out, which is unfortunate because you want to talk about a card with potential. There's so much there. Like, if we got a modern version, he could actually be really good with how much cards stand and how much rest power we have now. The concept is so cool. And plus, the fact he's a very strategic card. There are very few cards that relate to columns like that.
Right.
I really like that idea. Plus, you've got the move aspect, so you can move him around for very strategic plays. Very cool, but very bad.
Only bad because they didn't flesh it out more, I feel like. If they would have fleshed it out, I think it would have been better to an extent, but yeah. Oh, and Roxas, we're not counting the one-off drums. Just to let you know. Right, Jacob?
Yeah, I know he entered late, and we mentioned that earlier, so.
Did we?
Yeah. So next we move on to Ancient World.
Ancient World.
Uh-oh. He's clearing his throat.
Dulciga!
Oh, come on. That was weak sauce. You didn't even peek the mic.
Oh, you want that to happen?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Please don't. Yeah, so Martial Arts Dragon Emperor Dual Seeker. Whew. He's a 7/2/7 size 3, our first size 3 buddy monster.
Mm-hmm.
And call cost, pay 3 gauge and put up to 2 Dragon Lord from from your hand into this card's soul. He has double attack, soul guard, lifelink 5.
That was introducing lifelink, right?
Yeah. He was the first card with it. He was the buddy rare card for Cyber Ninja Squad.
Yeah. Back in the day when buddy rares were more special because they
we need to
the
do
next
like
set.
a discussion on that at some point because that is
At some point. What's next?
Hey, we didn't talk about him.
Oh,
Was he good? Was he bad? What?
well, of course he was good. He was a size 3 deck.
Dual Seeker was absolutely broken for about a week. Because like a week or two after Immortal Entities came out, which was a great set and allowed you to build him fairly easily.
Mm-hmm.
A week or two after that, we got the Dungeon World trial deck, which included Rolling Stone.
And that was the end of Seeker.
For a while, at least.
For a while.
Which is interesting because he still sees play in Seeker to this day because Seeker, at this point, needs to have at least one copy of every Seeker.
Yeah, that's all you need sometimes.
Yeah. And he's fine. But all I'm saying is Dual Seeker was actually not very good when he came out. The big thing was Spartan. Tempest Enforcer was also actually not very good. But Spartan was like that.
Spartan was the one.
He was easy to play. And he had the stats.
He did.
An 8/3/8 double attacker was nuts.
But we're not talking about Spartan. We're talking about Dual Seeker here. But otherwise, pretty basic. Nothing too crazy. But off to the next one. Kind of the same situation as Demon Godel. Mainly because I really fought for it. I fought for this next card. For Lattice, the Tyrant, to be on this list.
I think he was used in one episode by Shido.
But he had so much character. Just so much character. And I don't know, I feel like a lot more people would have a problem if we didn't mention Lattice versus Demon Godel.
Even though he probably technically does not count for this list, but we'll stretch the rules for him.
Just because it was the first main anti-spell monster.
Oh, plus Wild Dragons have been ignored enough.
Yeah, we had to get Wild Dragon something.
I'll go through it quickly. I'll rapid fire it. Ready?
Go.
7/3/6 size 3. Pay 3 gauge. Counter. You may discard a Wild Dragon from your hand. If you do, use one of the following 2 abilities. Pay 2 life, and during this turn, the next time this card will be destroyed, this card remains on the field, or pay 2 gauge and nullify your opponent's spell. Double attack.
Cool. That wraps up Lattice. What's next? What world's next, sir?
Dungeon. With its one card to talk about, because we're not counting Brave Drum, because we went over that earlier.
Obviously. Was it only one?
Yep.
You want to know why I'm thinking there's multiple? Because of the teacher, the principal. But it doesn't matter because Blade Wing is the one we're talking about. Isn't that right, Jacob?
Bladewing Phoenix, yes, that is correct. So Bladewing was
Interesting.
interesting because value-wise it was very strong.
Yeah,
but
at the time.
it did not see much play, but we'll get into that. He's a 5/2/1 size 2. He has a 1 gauge call cost, and he has double attack, which blew people's minds in Season 1, that a size 2 could have double attack. Even, like, any size 2 could have double attack, let alone one that only cost a gauge was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But the main Dungeon World deck was Adventurers, Pure Adventurers, or Adventurer Dungeon Enemy Mix. There was very little play of actual just dungeon enemies. And the problem with that is the deck that he could have fit in was pretty much exclusively about size 1s.
Mm-hmm.
Having a size 2 in the deck, although double attack was great, was pretty clunky. But he still saw some play.
I see Roxas was typing in all those buddies that we didn't count. And it's just like, no. No.
Yeah, we tried our best to get a good list, and yes, I know Lattice definitely doesn't count, but Dalton needed it.
I miss Wild Dragons. All right, so that was it for Dungeon World since it's only the one.
Yep, which means it's Legend World time.
Is it Legend World time?
It is Legend World time.
Or did Darkness Dragon World get hum out first?
Nope, Legend first.
Just want to make sure. Now, my favorite card right here is that demonic beast, Grendel. Just a fantastic card. This was the deck that I won my first locals with, and my last locals.
I was his opponent in the final round. I was playing Thunder Knights. I was so mad.
Fantastic deck. And it was too bad that I started working more and more, so I couldn't go to tournaments, and the fact that it became irrelevant.
Grendel was absolutely the most powerful card in the game for like a week.
I'd say a day.
And what's fun about this is, like, that's probably just at our locals. You know, like, there are plenty of places I'm sure he never saw play. There are plenty of people out here who don't even know he exists, you know? But
It's sad.
Oh my god, is he a cool card. So he's a size 3 monster with 6/2/6 for stats.
Kind of weird for a size 3.
He's a wider to call.
Mm-hmm.
He costs 3 gauge to call.
Right.
And he has 2 abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The first is called Golden Skin.
Golden Skin.
This card cannot be destroyed by the effect of spells. We have never seen that return, and that is incredibly sad. That's super unique. It's not broken. This card can't be, you know...
It can still be destroyed by a monster effects. It just can't be destroyed by monster spell effects.
That's
so Rolling Stone does absolutely nothing to him.
Yep. And then his other named ability is Death Curse. All monsters that attack this card are destroyed at the end of the turn.
So you're saying he was Deadly Eyes before Deadly Eyes?
Yes, actually. Obviously, he had to be balanced for the time by the fact that it triggers at the end of turn, so if something has double attack, you're still getting...
Are you sure he wasn't errated? I want to say he got an errata for that.
No, he
No?
didn't.
Okay.
And then he has double attack, but hey.
Hey, double attack. It's cool, too. Oh, he needs to retrain bad, man.
I totally agree at this point. Like, it's really a shame that we didn't get one, because, like you said, he's Bloody Eyes, but different.
Yeah.
In a really cool and clever way. It's like Thorns, you know, it punishes the opponent for destroying him, but you need to destroy him. But you're sacrificing your own monsters to destroy him. It's really
Wait,
cool.
was it just monsters, right?
Yeah.
We've done so many discussions just between ourselves, just talking about like how we can improve him or have a better retrain of him without trying to make him broken. That was always the thing. Always the thing. Bushi, please, this is one time. If you're gonna listen to me, I need that Grendel retrain, please.
The other problem here with him being that Wider Sakal is not a size 3 deck.
Well, there was also
and he was kind of really out of left field, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But still really cool. I like when they did weird off-the-wall cards that had, you know, like, he had no real relation with the rest of Wider Sakals, but that was okay.
Well, he did, because he was a demon and a beast, which is basically Wider Sakals, except for probably the next card we're going to talk about. But that's besides the point. But yeah, I just really want that retrain. So I guess it's time to talk about Kimura's buddy.
Yes. This pairing is the greatest between the frog.
Wait, I forgot about Grendel's buddy, Raramo,
who you had to look up the name of
because he was insequential.
Yeah, I just remember him as the hate card guy.
Yes, the just absolute hater. But yeah, Sylph. Kem. That's all I gotta say.
Sylph Just like how Dual Seeker was the first ever size 3 buddy monster, Sylph is the first main buddy monster we got that was a size 0, which is really cool. Sylph is a 1/1/1 size 0 Wider Sakal fairy. And wait, is she a fairy? I think I just made that up. I did make that up. She's not a fairy. All the others.
She becomes a fairy later.
Yeah.
Don't know why she wasn't a fairy to start off with anyway. But.
And she costs 1 gauge. And when this card enters the field, you may choose an item card in your drop zone and put it into your hand.
Yeah, pretty basic.
The art's way better than the card's ability. The problem is, like, if there were, like, item cards in Legend World that discarded themselves for effects, that would have worked out with her, but there was no real reason to bring items back.
Now, question for you. Was she and the next card No, he wasn't. Was she the first double rare buddy?
No, Bladewing.
Was he?
Yeah.
That's right.
She's very cool, though, and she got better with time. She actually had a focus and a gameplay strategy.
No, she did not get better with time.
No.
She didn't. Her other forms, definitely.
Yeah, the deck, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
The deck is a very fun gimmick deck that gets new pieces every now and then.
Yeah.
But yeah, she really, like, it wasn't that her effect's bad on paper. It's just like, why would you ever use it? What, like, getting into a situation where it'd be effective would be really hard.
In a sense, at the top, what I could see it as, if there's one really good Legend World item, you basically have 8 copies of it. Once it hits the drop, you have 4 size 0s, and then...
But part of the problem is, like, most of the items, if not all the items they had at the time, were equipment change items. So you could, most people were just swapping them.
Oh, that was that was Heroes,
right?
That was completely different.
Yeah, but there are no others. All of them had equipment change.
No, there was. I can't think of them right now because all those items are quite debatable, except for one. Are we ready for it, or are we still going to talk about Sylph?
Nah, we're good.
All right, so the first item, buddy, Durandal.
I'm gonna make some haters tonight. Immortal Sword Durandal.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Can you say that second word one more time?
Immortal Sword Durandal.
All right, you didn't say it like that the first time.
He's got 6,000 power and 1 critical. This card cannot be destroyed by effects from your opponent's cards. This card can be your buddy and equipment change.
That's right. It couldn't be destroyed. I forgot about that. This was long before, just place the stuff into the drop cards came out. It's actually quite nice, actually. I think it was a decent item. I think a lot of people just used it because nobody can get rid of him.
I really don't like Durandal, and I argued basically from the beginning that he was pack filler garbage because of the fact the buddy gimmick was stupid. Like, there was no real benefit to having him as your buddy over just using a monster. And the biggest problem here is, like, yes, the can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects thing is nice, but no one would want to destroy this piece of crap anyways, because it's just a 6,000 power 1 crit vanilla item.
Are you thinking about this at the time?
Yes, at the time. At the time, I saw no reason to run him. Because, like, you either had other items that had as much power, basically, or you had items that had way better critical than him. Why would you run him? Besides the fact that you just thought it was really cool to have an item for a buddy.
What other Legend World items had that much power?
I don't remember all the Legend World items offhand.
This is why I'm asking you.
I don't know.
Because to my knowledge, there were none. And he was probably the best item. The only other one that could counter that was the shield that can counter-equip itself. That could reduce damage by 2 when it did that.
I think most people cut Durandal from hero lists, even at the time.
Interesting.
the gimmick was not worth it. Because the gimmick doesn't change the game state in any way. It just changes what card's your buddy, you know?
Okay. Now we gotta talk about another one that's kind of questionable, depending on who you ask.
Not because it's not a buddy. It's just because this character is minor.
Yes. We got Medusa.
Gorgon Three Sisters Medusa, played by Terumi.
Mm-hmm.
People who haven't watched season 1 Buddy Fight are like, who?
This is very true. And Jacob would say, my girls,
Tetsuya.
my guy's girl.
Tetsuya's still looking for love.
No, he's just looking to find her. That was the thing.
So Gorgon Three Sisters Medusa, a 5/1/1 size 1. Those stats are crazy. Those are actually legitimately really good stats for a size 1. Even now, they'd be pretty good. 5/1/1.
No, I'd be pretty trash.
Yeah. Well, but it was very good. So, when this card enters your field, you may discard a card with Gorgon in its name from your hand. If you do, destroy all size 1 or less monsters on your opponent's field. I can explain.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Adventurers won the first Worlds, right?
Yes. Pretty sure. Well, I think it was Thunder Knights that did, but Adventurers had a huge showing.
Okay.
I mean, the meta was Thunder Knights Adventurers. That's it.
Okay. How did... Actually hearing that, because it's been a long time since I've heard her effect, how did Gorgons not show up and just, wreck house?
I can answer that in basically one simple sentence. There weren't enough Gorgons. Made the...
You do realize it's 3 sisters.
Yes, but there was 4 of them because there was a dude as well who
That was not a Gorgon.
A support card for them.
No, he was just more of an added thing, or he gained stuff.
Yeah. Also, it's in Olympus.
Well, of course. It wouldn't make sense if it wasn't.
Olympus, everyone's favorite attribute.
All right, so let's talk about Kiri's buddy, Iceblade Joker. Jacob's being weird. What did Joker do?
Iceblade Joker. Ooh, there we go.
What are you
Pressed the wrong button.
What are you doing?
I pressed the wrong button. He's a size 0 with 6,000 power, 2 critical, 3,000 defense. Those are holy crap, those are good stats. Right?
I'm just waiting for the effect.
Oh, sorry. Pay 3 gauge.
Well, wait,
Yeah, he's expensive.
Okay.
But he's got an ability.
Sure, we'll see.
When this card is discarded from your hand, you may pay 1 gauge. If you do, call this card from your drop zone without paying its call cost.
So, in other words, Medusa and Iceblade Joker?
If he was a Gorgon.
It wouldn't matter if he was a Gorgon.
Yeah, it does, because you can only discard Gorgons.
Oh, you didn't say. I don't remember that. I do not remember.
Sorry, buddy.
Don't call me your buddy. I'm not your buddy.
Oh. Sorry, pal.
I'm not your pal either.
Sorry, friend.
I'm not your friend either.
Oh, crap.
Remember that.
Let's talk about Iceblade Joker. Iceblade Joker, the fact that we got a size 0 with stats better than many size 2s was really, really funny. But that 3 gauge was...
Better than many size 2. Are you sure you're not mistaking that for size 1s?
I mean, it's certainly better than any size 1s in the game. But there are some size 2s with worse stats. I mean, he's a 6'2", that's not bad. The 3 gauge was the hard part. The challenge wasn't on the games when you did get to play him using the discard, because 1 gauge for him was fine with the discard effect. The challenge was when you didn't get that. Like, if you ended up with him in your hand and no way to discard him.
You mean hard call?
And you had to hard call him, it was gross.
Hey, Timmy's be Timmy's sometimes, right?
Yep. So the big thing with this, the idea was in the anime, they showed that you wanted to Fimbulvinter into Ragnarok and then play him when he's discarded off of that to plus, or well, it's not plussing, but have something on the field when you've unleashed one of the game's best board nukes.
Well, you'd had Fenrir,
But at that point, if you got him and Fenrir, like I think Kiri did in the anime, where he got Iceblade and Fenrir out off of a Ragnarok, that was basically just a win more situation. Like, what does the extra 2 damage do for you? You've already won the game.
It helps when you win harder. Duh. Come on now. Yeah, that's basically it for Iceblade Joker, right?
Yeah. Pretty good. I do remember, though, I will add, because I'll probably never be able to talk about this again, he was really expensive. And I think he's still really expensive. Just because he's from Darkness Fable.
Doesn't he have an SP?
Yeah, he does.
Well,
but he was rare in Darkness Fable. That was like $10, which was a lot.
Yeah.
Next. I got one more for Legend.
What's his name? Or its name, or whatever its name. Austrius, or whatever? Australia?
Yes, Australia.
Australia.
Stellar deity Astraeus.
Astraeus?
Astraeus. It's this was the buddy of Sophia Sakharov. It's a 6/2/6 size 2. It costs 2 gauge. Star on your left and right cannot be destroyed. Period. They just straight up cannot be destroyed. So the idea being, if you put this on your left and you got another on the right, they just straight up can't be destroyed. There's a note to make with this one, though. This card actually did not come out in the first season, even though it was shown off in the first season in the anime. It was held off to the first booster set of 100.
Yes, that's why we said this is for season 1 of the anime. I hope we said that. That'd be really awkward if we didn't.
Yeah. But this is not the only one. There are a couple others that we're not introduced to later, but they're featured in the anime. And actually, I kind of like that idea, but we'll talk about that some other time.
Right.
Australis is super good. Super good. I mean, just not being destroyed, period. Holy cow. Really fantastic card. And it's meant to synergize with Great Fate Frozen Stars, which it very much does. So if you get both on the field, GG, no re.
This is very true. Which you were actually horrible at piloting that deck, so
oof.
It's just the truth.
I bricked so much.
He didn't brick, he was just horrible with the deck.
He's lying.
I'm not lying.
He is lying.
Tell me why you gave up on it right away.
Darkness Dragon World.
Darkness Dragon World. All right. We gotta start off with the least appreciated one, Death Talica.
That's who we're starting with?
I just threw you for a loop, didn't I?
Oh, you did. I have to find it. All right. Black Dragon of Demise, Death Talica. 10,000 power, 2 critical, 3,000 defense. Pay 4 gauge, then put all deep from your drop zone into this card's soul. When this card is attacked, or when this card would leave the field, you may put 3 cards from this card's soul to the bottom of your deck. Nullify that attack or prevent that card from leaving the field. This card from leaving. This card cannot get Soul Guard. Double attack.
If it got Soul Guard, it'd be busted. Let's be real.
First thing I saw in the anime was like, I want to ultimate buddy this.
Well, there was no need.
No, but it was cheesy. So this is very much a Timmy card, a card that like your deck was totally built around getting it out.
Yes. Yes, too bad the deck has evolved into his third form, which is completely opposite of what he does.
Let's be frank, he was terrible, though.
No, I didn't mind him.
He
was cool.
Competitively, though, he was really bad. Because...
Oh, no, it's only when you play against people like Christian, who decide to say, oh, no, I'm not going to attack. And you're like, but dude, you're stalling then.
The problem with Death Talica was the fact that there wasn't enough mill in Darkness Dragon World to really make him viable, so he was a very slow deck. And he also, there were occasions where you'd get a good drop zone set up and you had the 4 gauge and you'd never draw into him, or maybe all of your copies got milled, or you had a situation where you had the drop zone set up and you had him in hand and you just did not have 4 gauge because that was really hard to have back then. There were definitely some problems. I don't think I don't think anyone has ever played Death Talca at a tournament, like a actual regional level event.
I have to change this.
Maybe recently with the dude who swings 6 billion times.
Maybe. And no, Armor Knight Eagle was not put on this list. We did not count Wolf. Because remember, it wasn't Ryuga, it was Wolf. Even though they're the same person. That's the point. Who's next? Death Gaze.
Death Gaze. Okay, we can do Death Gaze next.
All the death in the world.
Death Dragon, Death Gaze Dragon. The most redundant name ever. I love it.
I think you missed a few death in there.
Death Dragon of Death. Death Gaze, Death Dragon. Is that better?
A little bit.
All right. He's a 6/1/1 size 1 black dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I forgot. Season 1 was really weird for archetypes in Darkness Dragons. So he's a black dragon, Death Deep.
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I still don't understand why they gave everything Death and Deep. Still.
I know why they gave it deep. Because Death Talca. That's why. They wanted more deep
really
cards.
Weird, though.
Because what? You'd have Death Talca, Devil Stigma. What else for deep?
I don't know. Anyway, he has a 1 gauge call cost, and he has Spectral Strike 2.
Oh, such a good card, man.
He was pretty decent back then, but there were other black dragons who were like equally good, which made him being the bully.
Who?
I don't know. I remember a promo one being like really good.
Promo one.
I don't remember. I don't know. I never played them. My point is all of the black dragons had Spectral Strike, and he didn't have anything extra to make him like stand out.
See, the only one that I could see the argument for would be oh god, what's his name? Oh no, Dalton. That's
We
right.
were mentioning Bloody Moon Dragon.
He sucked.
Oh,
Sorry.
wow.
I'm sorry, Roxas. He sucked. I can't remember his name unless he came out at 100. Double rare 303.
Yeah, that's a 100 card.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
But you get what I'm saying, that although he's a good card, he didn't feel super special.
He felt special.
Okay, wow.
He probably had the worst CGI in the show.
That's why he's special?
Yeah, man. Don't you remember that? Just seeing him just being so extra. Or like Drum, he was fine. He still kind of fit in.
All right. Next card.
Whatever, don't.
Was he good? Yeah, probably. Spectral Strike was pretty decent. It wasn't good enough to tackle the meta of Thunder Knight's Adventurers, but it was good enough to still see play.
Sure.
Yeah. Next is
What you about to do?
Huh?
Yeah, keep your mouth shut. We got Gallows.
Death Ruler Gallows. He is, let me get his attributes right. He's a Death Deep. He's a 2/2/1. He costs 1 gauge. And he has Shadow Dive, which lets him attack through the opponent's center, if you didn't know. And he has Soul Absorption Chain. When this card deals damage to your opponent, you gain 1 life.
Pretty basic. You know?
He's a little basic, but he was pretty good. My only argument, I think the 2,000 power was kind of unnecessary. Why not just make it 1,000 power with 2,000 defense? Because, you're never going to attack monsters with him, ever.
Well, it's the point that Darkness Dragons always had low defense. You know? Just look at Death Gaze. 1,000. But, to each their own. That's how I feel about it.
All right. Next. He was okay. I'll give him an okay.
Oh, we were supposed to be rating?
Yeah. Just
Sure.
Deck wasn't really super relevant till Gate
Yeah.
Riders came out.
So
And then
you-
Bone Laborers after.
Right. Stop showing me stuff. I have a list. Get Demios off your chest. Let's go with Demios.
Okay. Purgatory Knights leader Daimyo Sword Dragon. 6/2/3 for stats. And 1 ability. Counter. Oh, he's a size 2. I forgot to mention. Also, he's the only one we've gone through that's not a deep from Darkness Dragon World so far. During your turn, destroy another monster on your field with Purgatory Knights in its name. If you do, stand this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it became a pretty strong card, you know.
He was pretty strong.
Just the archetype, I guess, became super strong initially.
Yeah, they were pretty good in Season 1. The only problem was this was also the time of cards like Death Grip and whatnot. There were a lot of like single-use destruction cards running around, and he had no protection. But other than that, he was pretty good. So yeah. Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. And, you know, if we want to get technical, his buddy was Purgatory Knight, you know, one of the best characters in the show. Nothing like that Tsuku character. All right. Last Darkness Dragon World one. Even though I believe just because of how Ozzy came into it, but we got Ozzy.
Yep. So this is one of the ones that didn't technically get released till Season 2, but was featured in Season 1. Demonic Demise Dragon Ozzy Dahaka. 10,000 power, 3 critical, 10,000 defense. Those are some beefy stats. Put a card from your field into your drop zone and pay 3 gauge. Erasure of History. When this card attacks, it attacks all of your opponent's monsters and your opponent instead. When this card deals damage to your opponent, destroy all items on your opponent's field. Second ability, when this card is destroyed, search your hand or deck for a Demonic Demise Sword, a Qualta Galneth, and equip it. If you search your deck, shuffle it.
Interesting. That's what I got right off the bat. A very interesting thing because this also introduced Ein into the whole mix.
Yeah, so this was our first buddy not meant to be used in a normal world. In fact, he's a
normal flag.
I somehow failed
Remember
to bring
flag.
up the fact that he's a size 4.
Good job, mate. Good job. First size 4.
Obviously, people were very hyped for him. He turned out to be extremely expensive when he came out.
Yeah, man, you know.
You needed 4 secret packs in order to play him because you absolutely needed 4 Dragon Throne.
Yeah, you're welcome, by the way.
And he was expensive. The entire secret pack was like 150 or so, and you needed 4 of them to remotely play the deck. It was a thing where, like, if you had 1 or 2, the deck was awful. If you had 3, the deck was awful. If you had 4, the deck was broken.
You know, Jacob, if I would made you pay for everything that I've given you for that deck, oh, you would be broke. Because those were one of those secret pack thingies where Dalton was a god, and Jacob was just like, please, no. You remember those days?
Roxas brought something up in the chat that I want to mention.
When you add Deadly Eyes to
not that.
Ein, it's
Not that.
actually deadly.
I don't care.
Or when you add Raphael.
Listen. Fun fact: there's only one buddy monster from season 1 that never became a card. I know what card you're talking about. It's the shop owner's buddy.
Shop owner had a buddy?
Yeah, the shop owner had a buddy. It's like a robot dude from Hero World, and he even said he's from Hero World, but we never got a card of it.
What was his name?
I don't remember. Someone, if someone can pull that up, please do.
But now you bring out Hero World.
Look at that segue.
Cardburn.
Cardburn. Cardburn was the first Hero World card introduced. He was the buddy rare in Break to the Future, which was pretty darn cool. And he was shown way before he actually came out.
Yes.
So Cardburn is a size 1 Hero World monster with 4/1/3. He is a Brave Machine. And act. You may pay 4 gauge, put a card Serpent, card Rhino, and this card from your field into your drop zone. If you do, ride Ultimate Card Burn from your hand or deck. And if you searched your deck, shuffle your deck. He also has Ride by paying 2 gauge. Why you'd ever ride Card Burn, I am not sure.
For reasons. Yeah, it was an interesting concept, you know? Kind of your first Megazord kind of being put together. Things like that. It was neat. It was definitely neat. What did you think of the Card Burn deck before it became
We've got the one card. Rox has found the name of it for us. Super Space Robo Galaxy Demon.
So an alien?
I don't know. He's just like a robot dude. I want to see a card of him someday. Someone make a fan card of him.
Sure. Now, what's next? You gonna finish what I asked you?
What did you ask me? I got distracted.
What did you think of Card Burn?
Card Burn was not
Of a deck.
good because of consistency issues. Even when the full support from Neo Enforcer was obviously you could not play him on his own when he was just a buddy rare, but he got people hyped. The big problem was consistency issues, which were addressed later with future support, but he was really
Which didn't really matter because they were so out of relevancy, in my opinion.
Yeah. But I'd never say Card Burn was a good competitive deck. But it was very fun.
Great casual deck, though.
Yeah.
Great casual deck.
Speaking of cards that were never very competitive.
For Bushi reasons. Dakosuke. What you got about that Martian, my guy?
People should probably know if they watched our complaints about Hero World we did. I really like Martian UFO Takasuke, and I'm really disappointed he was not a full archetype. He is just a superhero, and he is a 4/1/2 size 1. He has an act ability. If you are Ride on this card, pay 1 gauge. If you do, declare the name of a card and look at all the cards in your opponent's hand. If the declared card is among those cards, deal 2 damage to your opponent. You may only use Martian Zap. No, it's just 1 Zap. Martian Zap Beam once per turn. And Ride by paying 1 gauge.
Neat. Pretty neat. It is disappointing that it never got flushed out completely in a sense. It did get more cards for its cause, but definitely should have been worked on, Bushi.
I don't know. From only 1 booster set of support for Hero World when it was just Neo Enforcer, he was probably the best generic like Ride card you could do.
This is true.
Because he had okay defense. You know, it was only 2,000, but it was better than 0. And he had a good effect when you rode him.
Right.
So, but other than that, he's pretty bad because he never got anything at all that synergized with him.
That's fair. Very fair. Let's see here.
And most of his retrains ended up pretty bad too. Outside of the Thunder Empire one, that one's pretty good.
And the Battle Buildings one's good too.
Yeah, that one's good. But it's not him. It's like
It's him. You know,
it's basically him.
It's basically him. Is that all the buddies?
Is
that all 26?
I do believe that is all 26 that we're covering. Obviously, there are some minor ones we did not cover. My main thing here, guys, if you did enjoy this, please leave us a comment on this video letting us know what your favorite buddy monster from Season 1 is. And most importantly for me, please let us know if you want us to do Season 2. Just leave us a comment. It'll incentivize us, tell us, yo, we really want this, get on it. So we would do Season 2 next.
And Jacob, I got you. You want to know why?
Why?
There is one more Hero World card we have to talk about.
Who's that?
You know the answer.
I do not.
I just gave you the answer, sir.
Oh, is it Captain Answer?
It's Captain.
Yes, he was his own buddy?
Yes, this is true. And kind of Genma's, because Genma.
Well, what does Captain Answer do?
That, sir, I do not remember.
All right, stall for me.
Is that a good enough stall for you? Did you
No.
find it yet? Come on, did you find it yet?
No.
Don't worry, I wasn't going to miss Captain Answer. Probably the most influential, and just because Genma looks amazing.
He is weird, though, because he's technically a buddy monster, but also kind of breaks the formula for one.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So Captain Answer, he's a 5'2", size 2. He has transform for 2 gauge. He's a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
He has double attack. Oh wait, no, he doesn't. I lied. He has an ability called Answer Question. You may pay 1 gauge. If you do, declare either monster or spell and put the top card of your deck into your drop zone. If this card is of the declared monster of the declared card type,
Of the declared
this
monster
card
type, huh?
gains double attack. You may only use this ability once per turn.
Yeah, pretty good, my guy. You know,
Good ride target. He was the second
right? Transform.
Yes, he was the second Hero World card ever introduced because he was introduced as a buddy rare, and he's still like $100 a card for the buddy rare version.
I don't know. Is he?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, pretty good card. Never got his own fully fleshed out deck, just like Takosuke, but you can make something work.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you'd like to say before we round it off?
Drum is the best gal buddy there will ever be. You cannot change my mind, and if you think any of the other two are, you are wrong. Grendel needs a retrain. And give my boy Captain Answer and Takosuke their own decks, Bushi. That's all I got.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, comment if you want us to do a season 2. Otherwise, we won't do it.
That's what you say now, and then watch next week. We have season 2 coming out. But please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell just in case you guys do let us know. You'll get notified when it happens. You can support us on Patreon or check out our shop. All links will be in the description down below. Follow us on Instagram. Join our Discord if you want to keep talking about it or even argue about the cards that we didn't have on the list and why they should have been on the list and so on and so forth. And Purgatory Knights had the best lore in the game, in my opinion. And above all else, stay classy, y'all.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.